Hello, I am here with your March 21st, 2021 tarot using the Line Strider Tarot. I've done an extensive pre-shuffle off screen, and now we ask for our messages for Sunday, March 21st. Officially done the first 3 weeks of March already. We are into the astrological new year with the start of Aries yesterday. We also have the start of spring that happened yesterday. Part of what is making this Aries season a little bit more fiery and passionate because although nobody loves like a Leo, nobody's as fiery and or explosive as an Aries. They are ruled by Mars. Mars is the masculine planet of anger, passion, drive, sex drive included, and named after the god of, I believe it's the Greek god of war. Now, all of the planets do have a Greek and Roman counterpart. So sometimes there is a slightly different name for one or the other, whether it's Roman or Greek. And I will do a couple of oracle cards just because it is the start of spring in the Northern Hemisphere. I do have a couple notes that I want to read from and talk about quickly before I get into the reading. So we have the Sun, therefore Earth, both in Aries. We also have Venus on March 21st, moving into Aries. So Venus, we know as the feminine planet of love, named after the goddess for love and beauty. I believe that one is Roman because the Greek goddess is Aphrodite. I could be getting those two mixed up, but it is the same type of energy that comes from Venus. So where you have Venus being very feminine and soft and about love, you have Mars, which is the masculine counterpart, which is more about the drive and the sex drive and being a little more explosive. So another way you can think of them is Venus is the Empress energy and Mars is the Emperor energy, and they go hand in hand together as a power couple. And right now we have Mars actually in the sign of Gemini, which means your thoughts and ideas, this is a great time to brainstorm and start planning on how to carry these out and start moving forward on those ideas. And with the Venus energy being in Aries, it is a little more passionate, a little more driven. And just quickly looking at my notes here, because there is a bit. We also have the Venus star point. Now, for those of you not familiar with astrology, I had to look this one up. I hadn't heard of this one. So when Venus is in its orbit, there is a particular point when it is between the sun and the earth. It creates a specific point, and it actually is a point when you draw out a pentacle. Each one has its own point. So Venus star point is also going to be in Aries. And with this right now, the energy that it's in, it is known as the evening star. And now this is more for the Northern Hemisphere. So if I've got anybody from south of the equator watching, I apologize. This may appear more as a morning star rather than an evening star. But when Venus is in direct and it is in this transit or in this particular point in the sky, the evening star is known to be a positive thing, whereas if it is known as the morning star, it usually means it is in retrograde. Now, this is going to help us to take risks. It is about new beginnings, moving towards our passion, and apparently March 26th, which is next week, right before the full moon, and the full moon is going to be in the sign of Libra. So you've got passionate Aries fueling what is normally the emotional component in regards to the moon. We're going to have the moon actually in an air sign. So it's not going to be quite as emotional and heavy like a lot of full moons get a bad reputation for. Doesn't mean that crazy stuff still doesn't happen around the full moon. Trust me, as a former police officer, I promise you, the crazy shit happens on a full moon. For about a full day, day and a half before, the day of, and a full day afterwards. It's just mayhem. So with this, we do have a lot of passion. We have a lot of drive. We are having those ideas that are, now's the time to start propelling those forward. So if you're looking at making any leaps of faith using the Fool energy, around the 26th of March is going to be, according to many astrologers, that is when you are going to be wanting to take your chances and maybe taking a little gamble, dipping your toe, or taking the full-on plunge, depending on what your situation is. The Venus point in Aries is also going to help bring in courage, independence, individuality, leadership, and to build our own authentic identity. So if you're feeling a little lost in your identity, this might be a good time to take some time for yourself and kind of see what resonates most to you, what is important to you, and maybe assert a little independence. And whether that is just asserting what you resonate with or striking out on your own in a business sense. What else do we have? We have new moon in Aries on April 11th, which is perfect for that carrying over into the new beginnings, new energy with the new moon. The full moon in Libra, this is the moon that was happening in March that I was talking about manifesting. This is when you want to be doing it, because what you start clearing out to make room for now is going to be appearing, hopefully, it will be appearing for you. Now, if you're manifesting winning the lottery, well, apparently that's an extremely difficult thing to manifest, but you can manifest wealth and abundance in other ways. So this might be, or this is that full moon coming up on the 28th is a great time to be looking into that. And the predictions that I saw was whatever you try to bring in for this full moon, if it's going to manifest, you'll know by the full moon in October, which will be, the sun will be in the sign of Libra in that time frame. We also have Venus moving into Taurus April 14th, which starts to address your abundance. And this is why that full moon on the 28th of March is important, is time to create room, get ready for the new, because on the new moon, that's when we set our intentions. 3 days later, we've got Venus, the planet of love, wanting to start addressing abundance. We then have Mercury going into Taurus, because right now Mercury is also in Aries, which means communication is going to be very driven. And I'm sorry, this is going to be a long video. Mercury is very driven and wanting to really push forward when it is in Aries, April 19th. It's moving into the sign of Taurus, which is when the sun is also moving into the sign of Taurus. So that means really stubborn, hard-headed type energy, particularly in our communications and our words. We may not want to be compromising, whereas now we just should probably watch our words to make sure we're not kind of saying things off the cuff out of anger, because that's Aries influence. But we may have stubborn mindsets and being inflexible in our thinking. So when we get to Taurus season, we are going to want to strive for middle ground in all of this. Now, on to Sunday, March 21st reading. We have, off the bottom of the deck, we have the Six of Swords, which is talking about moving into calmer waters from a rough period of time. Also can indicate movement, traveling, moving residences, moving for employment. Although I don't get employment because there are no pentacle energy here, it is some of the keywords that go with the Six of Swords. So for those who are learning tarot, that's part of the reason why I say kind of the keywords. I very much welcome you to pick up a deck, look at the books, look at the cards, watch videos. It's a great way to learn. So also off the bottom of the deck, we have a Major Arcana card, because we've got two Major Arcana cards in this reading. One's off the bottom of the deck, and that is the Wheel of Fortune. So things are starting to move. We have movement here in these cards. Things are moving forward. They're progressing. And with the Wheel of Fortune, we may even be seeing our luck changing, and these two cards actually are really great together, because where things were maybe rocky and stagnant, we're starting to see progress. We're starting to see movement. We're getting somewhere, and it is in a positive manner. When this has all been unfolding, it may not have been feeling positive, but we are starting to see the positive influences coming out in it. Now for the body of the reading, we start off with the Queen of Cups, which was perfect with that Venus energy that I was just talking about. The Queen of Cups. Cups is emotions. It's water signs. Swords, by the way, air signs. Wheel of Fortune is Sagittarius, so that's a fire sign. Queen of Cups. She's loving, nurturing, usually depicted as pregnant. However, that could just be pregnant with new ideas or getting ready to start birthing something new. You're nurturing it, you're feeding it. It is something that you care about. What else is Venus influence? Even though it's an air sign, we have the Major Arcana card of the Lovers, sign of Gemini. Talks about balance, passion, passionate love. Even though it is an air sign, and air signs are not usually associated to passion, air signs are more free thinking or about in your mind when it comes to the tarot. But the Lovers is definitely one of love. And as you can see, these two storks, just checking to make sure they don't have any little chicks beneath it. These two storks, they're very much intertwined in each other. So it is one of deep caring and deep love. That other movement card that I was talking about, Six of Wands. Wands is fire energy, which we are currently in the sign of Aries. But sixes talk about movement, it's progress. And the Six of Wands is victory after a battle. And that's why I say moving out of that really stormy, stuck feelings like we're not getting anywhere. Well, the tides are turning. Literally with the Six of Swords, it's very watery imagery, even though it is an air card talking about things in your mind. So where things have maybe you've been thinking are really tough, or you've just been having a tough time mentally, we're starting to come out of that. We're starting to move forward. There's a lot of progress, and it is feeling like victory after a battle. We've been working really hard at this, and our luck is changing when it comes to this. And we may have a little bit of a stroke of luck when it starts coming into bringing in what it is that we desire and what we love. Keep working on birthing those new ideas, because right now with the sign of Aries being so prevalent in a number of planets, and we don't have any retrogrades coming up until the end of April. And even with that, it's Pluto that is going retrograde. Now, once we start getting into May, we've got a little bit of a different story. And that one fell on the floor. I tried to grab it. Hang on one moment. Oh, of course, it's way super far under the table. And it's a card that I could actually use the energy of myself. Oh, good grief. That card is to breathe, which is exactly what I need to do after it fell almost halfway across the room. All right. These cards don't usually just have one or two messages. Let's get one or two more. But with all of this passionate, fiery energy going on, and having Mars, the thinker, or the doer, with the sign of the thinker, this is a great time to start getting those ideas down onto paper and start putting ideas down on how to plan it. What do you need? Do you need equipment? Do you need funding? Is this something that you can do from home? Is it... I don't know why I'm getting these ideas as work related. It could be. It doesn't have to be. It could just be plans for the next steps. Like, do you take the plunge into a dating site? Do you start thinking about how you can better use resources around your home? Okay, so we start off, and these messages are going to be for the entirety of the sign while the sun is in the sign of Aries. I know I'm really stumbling over my words today. My knee injury has flared up, and because it is nerve damage, it does affect my cognitive ability. So when it comes to thinking straight and having the ideas and the words in my head and getting them to actually come out into a sentence that makes sense, sometimes there's a bit of a disconnect with the way that the nerves send signals. It'll settle down. Things are under control. I just need a little bit of less activity, because that's what does it every time. It starts getting nice, like it has been here, and I start doing way more than I should be, and then my knee flares up, and then I need to do way less than I should be. It's fine. It happens every time it starts getting nice. But talking about using resources around your home, we have the energy. This is the wisdom of the Oracle deck. We have energy of chop wood. Chop wood is getting to those tasks that we don't care to do, that we don't like doing. But if we get to them first, get them done, get them out of the way, then we don't have to think about them or worry about them. So it doesn't have to actually be chopping the wood. It could be taking that plunge into updating your resume. It could be trying to plan out what your next renovations are, or how you're going to be doing these next steps. But you've got all these little piddly things or nitpicky things that you may not like doing or want to do, but you need to do it for the time being. Get it over with, and then it's done. Which then allows you to take a moment, relax, breathe. This is the card, by the way, that fell under the table. Bring in a little more zen as the figure is meditating on a lily pad. And with that, breathing, practicing breathing. When you meditate, counting breaths is often very much integrated with the practice of meditation. And it is actually a proven form to help deal with anxiety. So if you're feeling anxious over this chopping wood or the being stuck that we had with the actual tarot, breathe, take a moment, breathe, and then resume whatever it was that you were doing, because truth be told, this is kind of a bit of a, for this deck, this is a harsh truth that is being told. And sometimes you need to hear a hard truth in order to move forward and to progress. You may have to breathe through it because, I mean, nobody likes that kind of stuff. But we do have message in a bottle, and that is a message coming in or message on the horizon. And if there's news coming in, I don't believe this card says whether it is positive or negative news. I am going to have a quick look and double check that for you. I know this is getting a little long, so I'll just quickly. Communication, a sign pointing your way to your highest good. Spirit sends you signs when you ask for them, when you believe in them, or believe that you will receive them. And of course, the pages are going to stick together. And when you allow yourself to become fluent in the language of symbols, oracles, and omens. So if you ask for a sign from the universe, if you're not used to asking and receiving signs from the universe, you may want to get clear on what that sign looks like. What, do you want to see a specific number? It's like, okay, angels, if you're with me, am I on the right path? And ask to see the numbers 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Seeing those numbers without asking for them, I picked those ones specifically because they are in ascending numbers. So it goes from a smaller number in the right sequence, getting bigger. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you see that on a clock, on a license plate, you order something and it comes out to $12.34. That is a numerical sign that you are ascending, and it is a positive sign. You can also ask for, send me a white feather, but the universe, little bit of a trickster. If you ask to see a colored feather, it doesn't mean you're going to see it on the ground. You may see it on TV in a commercial. You may see it in something online. So be open to those aspects of when you ask for a sign, you may get it. May not always be in the form that you're thinking of it, but ask for a sign. That may be your truth that you're being told, that hard truth. So if you don't see that sign and you've asked for it, it just may mean that now is not the time. But with all of the progress and the progressive movement cards that we have in the tarot, the Wheel of Fortune and the Upright, there is a good probability, unless you're on the wrong side of karma, just have to throw that in there because that has been a huge player over the last 3 days. And with the sign of Aries starting, the sign of spring, we're starting fresh, it's a clean slate. Unless you're on the wrong side of karma, then all of this forward progress may not be happening for a reason. But all the cards upright are indicating it is positive and it is movement in the right direction. So this is a super long video and I'm going to let you go and I'll talk to you tomorrow.